وكلا نقص عليك من أنباء الرسل ما نثبت به فؤادك وجاءك في هذه الحق وموعظة وذكرى للمؤمنين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Firstly, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We come to another session of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and we got to the point where Zuleyka, and some say that she has a different name, Rahil, or Zuleyka, or somehow pronounced as Zuleyka. But Zuleyka, she's the mistress, or the person who's in this house. It's her house, her husband's outside, she's locked all the doors. They say in some tafsir that there's 7 different doors. She's got Yusuf alayhi salam in the center of the building, and she's about to make her move towards him. Now, how old is Yusuf alayhi salam at this moment? There are different aqwal, there are different tafsirs. Some have said that he was much older, say between 30 to 40, but that is actually if you actually look at the words used later on in the surah. So for example, in surah 12, ayah number 30, Allah Azza wa Jal has made a reference towards him as being a fata. Now, fata in Arabic is a young boy, as in a person who's in, a person who's possibly in his youth, definitely gone above his age of puberty, but would have probably been about 17 years old, could be up to 20 years old, could be even in his early 20s. So he's definitely within his age range of being a young, mature individual or a man. And Yusuf alayhi salam is extremely handsome, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, this was on the night when he went towards Mi'raj. He said, according to one hadith, that Yusuf alayhi salam has been given half of the entire creation's beauty. So if you took the whole creation together and you put all the beauty on one side, and you took the beauty of Yusuf alayhi salam on another side, then his beauty alone would match the creation's beauty. Okay, so that's how beautiful Allah Azza wa Jalla made him. Now you can imagine this woman being so noble she was, that there's an obvious reason that she falls for this man. He is extremely handsome, extremely handsome. And up until this point, the women of the town or the city haven't even seen him. So he's like a hidden pearl in this palace, and he's been fed and educated and getting all the best things that his master or the minister of Egypt is giving him, who's the owner of this house. And she's basically got him in the middle, and by closing all the doors, she says to him in the end, she comes to him and says, Haytalak, come towards me. Come as in, let's do the act of what a man and wife would do. Now, Yusuf alayhi salam, of course, he's never been married at this time. It's not his mahram, it's not his wife, it's not anyone that he would have that kind of relationship or anything with. And Yusuf alayhi salam is the son of a prophet alayhi salatu salam. Now his first words that he says is Ma'adallah, and this is where we sort of got up to last week. Ma'adallah, he said, I seek refuge in Allah. Why? Because he knew from the scriptures that they had, and from what Yaqub alayhi salam had. And where was this all coming from? Well, whatever Ibrahim alayhi salam left, because Ibrahim alayhi salam had scriptures from Allah Azza wa Jal, which he left with Ishaq alayhi salam, a prophet, and then with Yaqub alayhi salam, his father, or the father of Yusuf alayhi salam. So it was very clear that zina is haram. And Yusuf alayhi salam straight away said, Ma'adallah, I seek Allah's protection. Now, subhanallah, such great taqwa and such great consciousness of Allah that his first call is Allah. Now there's a big lesson in this. The lesson here is, a lot of the times when we're in trouble, we sometimes, or many a times, we refer, or our head goes to the immediate material thing that might save us. So let me give an example. If a person has got a pain in the body, he'll straight away think, it's all right, it's kind of all right. I'll just massage it, rub it, whatever. Next thing, if he gets any deeper, he'll think, well, I can go to the GP. So the next call of reference, straight away he might think, well, go to the GP. If the GP says, I'm going to refer you on, doctor says, I'm going to refer you on, so he gets referred on. And he says, don't worry, there's a hospital, they'll give me an x-ray, whatever, it should be all right. And then the next thing is, well, they found something in his heart or something, so he'll think, well, there's medication, they're going to put me on medication, I'll take that and probably get it all sorted out. So there's that. And if it gets any worse, then it's like, okay, I'll go to a specialist, I'll go to a special hospital that specializes in this, and then I'll get something from that. And if nothing sort of is going to work, most people by then, their only point and call of reference is Allah by then. Now yes, the person would have made a reference of Allah beforehand, yes, we all know that. But to make the only point of reference Allah Azza wa Jal, that is what Allah is teaching us here. That He's in the middle. Who is He? Well, He's known to be a slave. He's not doing any slavery work at this moment, but He's there as a slave, one. Second is, if He says no or does something at this moment, He could be in serious trouble because she has got great power in this city. She's the wife of the minister, and she's got a hand in the affairs because she's going to tell her husband what to do. Her husband is in charge of the police force, and if she wants to say, well, and it's probably a ministry of, could be defense or whatever it is, but she could tell her husband that, do something about this, and he's going to be in serious trouble. So having all of this in front of him, instead of saying, what are you saying? Think about what you're saying. What are you doing? No, none of that. He says straight away, Ma'adallah. I want Allah to protect me. That's my first call. That's my only call. That's my full trust that Allah should save me at this moment. And then he moves on to the second thing he says. He says, Innahu Rabbi ahsana mathwai. He appeals to her conscience, but in a different way. First, obviously, he talked about Allah. And if she's got any taqwa inside her, she's going to also say, the man's taking Allah's name, I better not do what I'm doing. But he moved on to the second thing, which is, subhanAllah, it's very clever of Yusuf alayhi salam to do this. When you're in such a situation, you want to appeal to a person's awareness, their conscience, the guilty conscience. You want to get to that. You want to make them feel bad about what they're doing. Now, if she can't see the akhirah, if she can't see that Allah's going to get her back on the Day of Judgment, as in He's going to punish her on the Day of Judgment, if that's not in her mind at this moment, there's got to be something in the world I can use that she's going to have a guilty conscience of, and because of that she will stop. So what did Yusuf alayhi salam do? He said, Innahu Rabbi ahsana mathwai. Your husband, who is the house lord, or the one who looks after me. So he used the word Rabbi, but meaning that, you have like a landlord. We say in English, you can have a landlord. Now, landlord, Lord you normally reserve for who? For Allah, Lord, He's our Lord. But in Arabic and in English and in other languages, you can have that word used for others in a context. So just like you can say a landlord, which means he is a lord of the house. He's an owner of the house. That's all that it means. Okay, it doesn't mean that he's now a god. The same way Yusuf alayhi salam is saying that he's my Lord, meaning your husband is the Lord of looking after my affairs, because I'm supposed to be a slave and your husband owns me. But your husband is the one that has been excellent towards my stay in this place. Now again, just on that word Lord, what I want to say, you know sometimes you have in the Indian subcontinent, people say, Maulana someone. So they might say Maulana, Zubair. They might say Maulana, Hussein or something. And there are certain people who object to that. They say Maulana is a word that you're supposed to use for Allah only. Allah is our Mawla. Ni'mal Mawla wa ni'mal Nasir. Allah said, Allah has referred to Himself for us to use Him as a Mawla. Now, there's nothing wrong in calling somebody a Mawlana, because the way Rabb here can also be used for a human being, the same way Mawla can be used for a human being. Right? There are certain words that are ascribed to Allah that cannot be used for anybody else. But there are certain words that you can use for others. Like for example, Rahman, the most merciful, gracious, in terms of, all around merciful. That only can be used for Allah. But if you say that man, innahu rajulun, if you say that man is someone who's Rahim, he's a person who's got mercy, yeah, he's got mercy, or you kind of attribute that. Or Kareem, for example, he's generous. Allah's name is Kareem, but you can be generous as well. Allah is the most generous, but you can refer to a person and say, well, he's Kareem, innahu Kareem, he is generous. It doesn't mean that you've taken Allah's name and you just given it to a human being. So there are certain names you can give to a human being, another human being, like Kareem and so on. But Rahman and so on, you can't give it to others. These are specific for Allah. So Rabb is one of those words you can give to others, and Mawla is one of those words that can be given to others. Anyway, getting back to the surah itself, Innahu Rabbi ahsana mathwa. Your husband has been excellent towards my stay here. Meaning that you're asking me to commit zina with you. Don't you think about your own husband? Your husband's such a nice person. Why would you want to do this to your husband? As in his betrayal. How could you do this? And how could you want me? Okay, forget it. Maybe you're not even thinking about your husband at this time because all your eyes are on me. Yeah? You can't think about your husband. Maybe your husband's now second hand because I'm around. Right? If you've got your eyes on me at this moment, how can I do this when I am indebted to your husband for the many favors he's given me? Do you really think a man like me should lower himself, stoop low and say, you know what, the man can give me all these favors and I'm going to do something to his wife like this? La ilaha illallah. And the thing is, what we learn from here also is, sometimes the close ones you've got to yourselves that are close to you, to do something to them of haram is worse than the ones that are distant. They're both haram. Don't try and go away today and say, that's fine. If I get, I'm not going to do to my close ones, I'm just going to do to the ones that are far, I'm not asking you to make that dalil. What I'm trying to say from here is, in a hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, Allah Azza wa Jal will not even look at certain people on the Day of Judgment. Meaning that He won't look at them with the eyes of mercy. He will not even speak to them. Meaning that He will not speak to them with the words of mercy. And one of them, he said, is the man who fornicates or commits adultery with the wife of his neighbor. The wife of his neighbor. Now, why is it so severe to commit adultery with the wife of your neighbor? I mean, adultery is adultery, right? It's haram, it's bad anyway. Why is Allah's Messenger saying that it's quite severe to do this? More severe than a normal kind of adultery, or more severe than other haram acts? It's because you're close to your neighbor. Your neighbor has a right over you. You have a right over your neighbor. You're so close, you've got this trust, you've got this relationship, you've got good things that are going to go around with you, between you and your neighbor. And just because your neighbor's close to you and your neighbor goes off and you see his wife, you want to just go there and do what you want? That's low. The same way as if you've got someone in your own house, a niece or a niece for a man I'm saying, a nephew, for a woman, I'm saying. Now, this is your blood or your, someone that is related to you. You can't do anything to them of incest, or even if he was to, to touch them in a way that is inappropriate, it's worse. Why? Because these are the most closest to you and you were entrusted with them. So anyway, what we learn from this is that Yusuf is appealing to her and saying, how could you even think that I'm going to go down this line? And then he adds on, إِنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الظَّالِمُونَ. The third statement he makes, that those who commit oppression do not become successful. Meaning that if I was to now sleep with you, then that is a huge and major sin. That sin is that I have oppressed myself, and I would have oppressed your husband by doing that, and you're going to be oppressing your husband, and you're going to be oppressing yourself. And such people will never succeed. Meaning that what will happen eventually is one day or another, things will get, ugly. Now this is the nature of sins, guys. This is the nature of sins. Anyone who goes towards sins, one day or another, they're going to come across something that is going to be, oh my God, oh no, what have I done? Either the addiction is going to kill them, or they're going to get caught, or they're going to feel, such remorse later on, and they're going to feel so bad inside. Whatever happens, you look at any nature of any sin, eventually this, when the sin gets quite, like for example, imagine a man and a woman secretly in the house, they're doing what they want. How far are they going to get? Eventually, somebody will find out. When that person finds out, imagine the husband was to find out that this is happening in his house. Imagine, I'm just saying, this did not happen, but I'm saying, imagine. The husband would throw Yusuf out. The husband would have, got the woman and probably, divorced her or beat her up, whatever else he would have done. Eventually, you cannot move ahead with sin and enjoy life and be successful in life. You can't do that. And that is what he's saying, that look, Zuleyka, look at the future. First is, if you're not going to be thinking of Allah right now, okay, think about your husband. That's number two. If you're not going to be thinking about your husband, look, think about me. How am I supposed to do this? Again, regarding your husband, he's been so good. And number three is, you really think that you're going to commit a major sin and you're going to be successful in life, and you think I'm going to be successful in life? So what Yusuf did overall is, he not only made her think, but he started to make her think about the future. To stop anyone from sinning, you have to use one of these things. You have to get them to say, look, Allah, like for example, now most people, if you're going to give them da'wah, you need to talk about Allah. If not, talk about, a guilty conscience they might have with something around them. If not, talk about their future and say, look, there are consequences of what you're going to do in the dunya and in the akhirah. As for the dunya, Allah will not make you successful. As for the akhirah, forget it. There's no way out. So anyway, he's appealing to her. Now, one other thing is, what beautiful thing is, when she came for him and she said, hey talak, come towards me, he could have at that moment run away. He could have thought, forget this, I'm dying for the door. He could have done that, but he didn't. Why not? Because he thought that he wanted to reason with her. The reasoning with her might stop her from her action. And whenever we're in a situation where there's evil, it's always good to reason and communicate with people, because if you can get into the mind, see, the body is only doing something, like the hands and the feet only move because the heart and the mind are thinking a certain way. If you can get to the heart and the mind, you control the hands, you control the feet, you control the body. That's the secret. A lot of people think that, if I just tell him it's haram, akhi, it's haram, don't do it. Allah said no, there's Jahannam. No, you just what? You just told him it's haram, that's it, okay, just don't do it, stop your hands. You're trying to get the man to control his hands by just controlling his hands. That's a lesser way of getting a man to stop committing a sin. A better one is that you explain to him, you give him reasons why not, why he shouldn't do this act. And that is the way, when he takes that all in, he's more likely to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. I don't think I'm going to do that. Yeah, you're right. It's like saying, if we were in a dark room and me and you are inside there, And I'm saying, look, listen, man, I'm getting out of here right now. And you saying, well, I'm staying in here. So I'm getting out here right now. There's a snake in here. Now imagine there's a snake inside there, yeah? And I know there's a snake inside there, but you can't see no snake inside there. You say, what are you talking about? There's a snake inside here. Stay here with me. So now I'm getting out here right now, man. I'm getting out of here. There's a snake inside here. Now you're going to say, you crazy or something? A snake inside here? You want me to just... Well, leave then. Leave. I'll stay here. Now you're conversing about something which he's not convinced of. You know, the easiest thing to do is open the curtains. Open the curtains, let the light in. If he sees the snake, you think he needs to be convinced? You think he needs to be convinced? He sees the snake, he's going to run. He don't need no conviction. So anyway, what we're saying here is that to reason, to give, not to allow the thing to settle in the heart is a very, very good way of stopping someone sinning. Now, let's move on. The Qur'an in Surah 12, Ayah 24 says, and this is one of those places of tafsir where it needs some explanation. It says, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ. She definitely made her intention to grab hold of Yusuf alayhi salam and commit her act. And then it says, وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَرَّأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. He had some form of inclination. Had he not seen the evidence or the sort of irrefutable argument of his Lord. If he did not see the conclusive argument and judgment in front of him, he would have possibly had inclination. Now what does that mean? That means that Zuleyka was definitely fanatic for Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam, he's a human at the end of the day. Though he's a prophet, he's a human. Now let's understand this. We're not saying that Yusuf alayhi salam committed a sin, A. We're not even saying that Yusuf alayhi salam had the same thoughts as Zuleyka. No way. No way we're saying that. So what are we saying? Let me give you an example to explain this. You're fasting on a hot day. It's a hot day, you're fasting. Imagine, summer's coming again and we're all fasting in the summer. Last year we fasted in the summer. Now on a hot day when it's 6 or 7 in the evening, we normally break our fast about 9 something, right? 6, 7 in the evening is hot, or even at 3 o'clock in the daytime might be hot. Are you telling me you're not going to be thirsty? Are you going to be thirsty, yes or no? Yes, you're saying yes, I'm saying yes. You're going to be thirsty. But are you going to be thirsty in the sense that you're going to, look at that water, the jug of water, say, shh, whew, whew, I want to drink. Are you going to be in the sense that you're going to be looking at water thinking, man, I want to break this fast. I want to break this fast, but man, I want to break this fast. Are you going to be in that? Are you in that mood? Yes or no? No. You're going to be thirsty, yes. But thirsty means straight away you say, what time is it? Yeah, okay. 9 something is iftar. I'll wait till iftar. That's what goes through your head, yes or no? Regardless of, doesn't matter, despite any amount of thirst you've got, you're not going to break the fast. You don't even have an intention of breaking your fast because there's loads of water around you. Cold water, whatever it is, it's a hot day. You're not going to do that. But you are thirsty and you do have a small temptation towards quenching your thirst. So what happens here is that Yusuf alayhi salatu salam, in his human body, the natural instinct of any human being is when you've got a beautiful woman and she's all alone with you and you're at that age and nobody's there, then there's, you can have, just like you might be just naturally thirsty, you can have a natural desire or inclination there. But just like you've got thirst there, but you're not even thinking of breaking the fast, you're not even thinking of drinking the water, the same way Yusuf alayhi salam had that inside him, but there's no way he's even thinking of going anywhere near that woman for anything of that reason. That's what it means. So he's got she's got an inclination towards him. And what's that inclination? That inclination is a serious one. That's why Allah added the word laqad before it. Means that she was determined to fulfill her desires. And before his word hamma biha, before that, Allah does not use the word qad or laqad. Meaning that he has something which is a natural inclination or desire as any human being would have, but there's no way he would act or even be that kind of inclined the way she is inclined. And then he adds on, لَوْلَا أَرَّأَ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّي. Had he not seen the evidence of his Lord. What does that mean? That means, had he not had the education that zina is haram, number one. Had he not seen the evidence that her husband has been good to me, there is no way I can do this. 2. Number 3, had he not seen the evidence that from the scriptures that what is received from Ibrahim a.s. down is that whoever commits zina is going to be in a bad situation in the future, they cannot be successful. Had he not seen all of this, or had he not had this in his mind, perhaps he would have been inclined towards that. Meaning that a person who has, like what this shows, there's a big lesson here. Guys, we need to have knowledge. Those of us who have knowledge, the knowledge is a mechanism to save a person from the wrong type of action. Knowledge is needed. All this knowledge he had, knowledge of the scripture, knowledge of the of a human being and her husband relationship, of what we are in a society, knowledge of the future. If he didn't have that, then perhaps he would have gone towards that. The lesson here is, guys, let's read these books, Islamic books out there. Let's watch these lectures and so on. Let's educate ourselves. You don't know what day, what knowledge will prompt you to stay away from the sin. Now let's move on. Allah then says, كَذَلِكَ لِنَصْرِفَ عَنْهُ السُّوءَ وَالْفَحْشَاءَ. This is how we, as in Allah's talking about Himself, this is how we turn away from Him. This is how we turn away from Yusuf alayhi salam, minor sins and major sins. Su means evil, fahsha means obscenity. But some mufassirin have said su is a minor sin and fahsha is a major sin. Meaning that forget Yusuf alayhi salam going towards the sin, or forget Yusuf alayhi salam being turned away from the sin. Allah didn't say, I'm turning Yusuf from alayhi salam away from the sin. Allah is saying, I'm turning the sin away from Yusuf alayhi salam. So there's no way Yusuf alayhi salam would have gone towards that. And then Allah adds on, إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُخْلَصِينَ. Yusuf is of my servants who are sincere and who have been certified to be sincere. Mukhlasin. What does that mean? That means that the lesson in here is, and I've said this before in the series of Adam alayhi salam, is that those of us who will be sincere in our actions, Allah will save them. Allah will save you. Now this saving of Allah is coming up. Yusuf alayhi salam is not saved yet, but Allah's already announced that, you know what? I'm going to turn around the sin away from Yusuf. Now, Yusuf is still there standing. This woman's about to go for him. He can see that the doors are all closed. And he's got to now, if she comes for him, he's got to run. And he's in serious trouble here, because either way, he has to, he's going to face one consequence or the other consequence. Either she's going to get him and do something bad, or he gets away and then she's going to try and put an evil plan on him and make an evil plan about him. Allah's already announced in the Qur'an that He's going to turn away the sin away from Yusuf alayhi salam, meaning if we are sincere, Allah has already declared His help is with us. Sincere. And the other thing I want to say to you is, remember Iblis, in the series of Adam alayhi salam, Iblis said to Allah, I'm going to make your servants go towards Jahannam. And then he added on, he said, Illa ibadaka minhumul mukhlasin. Except your servants that are mukhlasin, that have been made to be sincere or are sincere, those ones I will not be able to take to Jahannam. Number one, they are the prophets, those are servants. And number two, us people, if we can show our sincerity, Allah will make us of these people. Okay. Now, Allah talks about how and what, how Allah saves him or what happens. When your verbal communication hasn't worked to stop someone from sinning. Imagine someone tells someone, look, I'm telling you, look, don't do this. I'm telling you, don't do this. And the person still comes in contact close. Says, I'm telling you, don't do this. Look, I've told you not to do this, that. And you just stay there. And if the woman wants to grab you and, do all this kind of stuff to you and say, look, I'm telling you not to do this. And you stay there. Why in the world? What's wrong with you? You're enjoying it. And you're trying to make an excuse and trying to say that, you know what, I've done my bit, I've just said it, don't do the haram. Listen, my friend, you've told someone not to do haram, you said it with your tongue. If you can stop the haram with your hand or with your legs or whatever it is, you stop it. So you got to use your hikmah. You got to use you got to stop this munkar with your hands. What do you do? And your feet, what do you do? He thought, well, the only way is for me to run away. Subhanallah al-Azim. What we learn from here is, sometimes, brothers, I want to tell you this straight up, yeah. Sometimes you think, that there's evil everywhere. There's evil everywhere, and sometimes you think that, I'm gonna deal with it. Sometimes there's even evil with the politicians and people who are doing politics and so on, and you kind of think, I'm going to go straight up and I'm going to deal with this. I want to tell you from this ayah here, sometimes from evil, you don't go head on towards evil. When you know that there are many consequences, you take the lesser of all the evils. And the lesser of all the evils sometimes is to run away from the evil, not to go head on towards the evil. So instead of getting yourselves all mucked up in all these politics and whatever else it is, sometimes it's just to say, you know what? I'm running away from it. And a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ is there that towards the end of time, Prophet ﷺ said, towards the end of time, a man will take his goats and he will go to the mountains and he will look after his goats on the mountains and he'll have a stream of water next to him. But to move himself away from the fitna, he will do that. Meaning that he will move away from it but not go headbang towards it. So anyway, Yusuf alayhi salam, he heads and darts for the door to get the door to open. Now, according to different tafsirs, what was it? What did she do? Did she lock it or did she not lock it? Well, most tafsirs say that she didn't actually lock the doors, but she put the latch. So one is to actually put a lock where you need a key to open it, and the other one is that you just close it with the latch. So the latch, what you'd have to do is you'd get there, open the latch, and then open the door. It's extra effort to get out of the room, but it would have been really difficult for him to open it if there were locks. But anyway, the Mufassirun who've said that they were actually locked up, she locked them up properly with the key, they say that Yusuf alayhi salam, he ran towards the door knowing that it's locked. But because he had his tawakkul and his dependence on Allah, when he went to the door, Allah automatically opened the door. Right? That's according to the tafsir that says that she actually locked it with a key. Most Mufassirin haven't said that. Most Mufassirin have said that it was a latch. So when Yusuf alayhi salam had to go towards the door, some Mufassirin have said that even then the latch just opened for Yusuf alayhi salam to get out. Others said no, and this is more of reality. So more of reality is that Yusuf had to go to the door. Now he's running away from the woman. He has to stop there, open the latch and open the door and then run again. Whereas Zuleyka is having a run all the way. So she's trying to grab him to commit zina and he's trying to run away from her and run away from the sin. And both of them are racing. Allah uses the word istabaqa. They're racing one another because it's like the race of subhanAllah. If you think of it in the moment, one man is trying to race away from haram and towards the rida and the pleasure of his Lord. And there's a woman who's racing towards haram and towards something that she's not supposed to do. The total opposites of one another. Now as she comes towards him and he's slowing down because he has to open the latches. The 7 doors he has to get out of. she catches up with him and she grabs him by the back, and she's obviously she's in that mood that she wants to do it, right? She's in that mood. Her hormones are kicking left, right, center, right? So she grabs Yusuf alayhi salam from the back to his shirt, and she tries to pull him towards her, and he pulls with his might away from her. The back of his shirt rips. It rips. He carries on running. He gets to the final door. He opens that door, and then it's serious trouble. What happens, both of them find the lord of the house, meaning her husband, at the door. And then she says, when she's right behind Yusuf alayhi salam, her husband's at the door. These are seconds. Obviously, I'm taking a long time to get to this, but I'm saying this because I want you to appreciate the whole environment here. Her husband's standing there, shocked, looking at both of them. It's like, why are they both breathing like that? And what's his look on Yusuf's face? And forget his face, her face. It wasn't like, she's waiting. No. Her face was, oh, this guy, what do you do with such a person? He wanted to do something bad to me. And I'm asking you to imprison him and punish him. He tried to go for me and do something horrible to me. Man, the woman brought out real tears in no time. No time. So here's the husband who just got to the door and he sees his wife crying, his wife saying, no, this man tried to rape me. Wow. How fast was that woman in making up the story? Now Yusuf is in serious trouble. This is serious trouble because he's got this red face and breathing heavily. Obviously red because he's rushing with blood, trying to get away from him. Ma'az Allah, may Allah protect him. And now he's in a real, dilemma. What's he going to say right now? And she's just thrown this whole allegation on him. And how is he supposed to prove that she was the one that went for him and not him? So he spoke. He spoke. Because at those times you can't stay quiet. If you stay quiet when you're in the right, then you're in the wrong. If you're in the right, you speak, my friend. And the next thing is, if you're in the right, you speak and you stay there and you speak with full conviction. That's what the Sharia says to you. It's not the time to say, okay man, I'm sorry, your wife feels like this, but I'm off, You gotta speak. So he said, that she was the one that's trying to seduce me. She's the one. Now the husband's thinking, well, someone's got to be lying. So then Allah says, Shahida shahidun min ahliha. A witness from her family gave witness to this event and said this, that look at his shirt. If his shirt is ripped from the front, then that means Yusuf alayhi salam went for her, she tried to get him away, and she ripped his shirt. But if his shirt is ripped from the back, then she went for him, not him for her. And he tried to get away and she ripped his shirt. And when the husband looked at the shirt, he saw it's ripped from the back. And he thought, Now, who was this person that gave the witness? Most tafsir say that it was the cousin of this woman, an elderly figure who was very intelligent, and he was one of those that could look at a situation and judge from the clues what actually happened. So he was brought into this matter, and the husband said, look, what do you say, man? What do you say to his nephew? The husband's called his wife's cousin. So he called him in and said, what do you say? He's like a brother to him. What do you say? He said, look, let's judge this case. He looked around and said, look, it can't be right. if he raped her, then why would his shirt be ripped from the back? Right? That's one tafsir. The other tafsir is, and this is backed by hadith, and I incline towards that there's about 4 different narrations for this, and it's a sahih hadith, narrated through Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, where Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that 4 children, meaning babies, have spoken from their cradle. And one of them was the baby in a cradle in the palace of Yusuf, where Yusuf alayhi salam was, and the baby was there to witness all of this. Now subhanallah al-azim, what happened is, then as soon as the husband was there and he's trying to investigate what happened, and he came inside and thought, how do I judge what happened? The baby from the cradle said, that would be enough as a miracle to know that Yusuf alayhi salam is in the truth. But the baby went right into the investigation, said, you look at the shirt. Now we learn another thing from this. This is another thing. There are people, subhanallah al-azim, you know everything around us is a camera of Allah Azza wa Jalla. You think about it. My friend, you want to sin, wherever you're sinning, you know those pencils on your table that are just lying there, that stapler that's just lying there, the rubber and the ruler that's lying there, they're all witnesses of Allah. The table is a witness of Allah, the floor is a witness of Allah, the planks of wood underneath your feet are a witness of Allah, the light above your head is a witness of Allah, the screen of your computer is a witness of Allah. The earphones you've got inside your ears are a witness and a camera of Allah. And if Allah wants to make any one of those speak on the Day of Judgment, they're going to speak. Everything's recording everything that we're doing. And that's what we learn from this ayah, that baby, what does the baby understand about what's going on? SubhanAllah. And what we also learn from this is that, you know when we get to the Day of Judgment, right now we can't remember the first 5 years or 6 years of our life. When we get to the Day of Judgment, we're going to remember even the time we came out of our mother's wombs. Allah will make us remember everything. Even when we're a baby and things that we witnessed, which we've forgotten, He's going to make us. In fact, they say, I'm going to give you this side thing, yeah? They say that, all the languages of the world are all in your head right now. You just learn in life how to unlock one of them or 2 of them. And you're going to say to me now, I say, that's going to be too far, Going to be too far. But there are many, the scientists haven't worked this out. There are many people across the world who have a sudden bang in the head and they start speaking a language they never spoke in their life. Never spoke Bengali in his life, or German in his life, or English in his life, or French in his life, and suddenly speaking fluently as if it's his mother tongue. They can't explain what this is. And they say, the only thing they can say is that there are neural parts to our brain that perhaps there's things in there we haven't discovered. Anyway, let's get off that subject. Let's get back to the surah. Allah Azza wa Jal then says, the husband turned around to the wife and said, Innahu min kaydi kun. He said, this is from your plot. It's from your plot. Inna kayda kunna azim. Your plot, what you just tried to do there is massive. You're the one, you went for Yusuf to try and rape him. Then you put the blame on him. This is azim, this is great. As in, how could you do this? Now, he's obviously reprimanding his wife for doing this. But he was a wise man. See, what any man could have probably done, yeah, come over here, let me give it to you, come over here. But the man was a wise man. He thought, you know what, if I take this matter forward and I start to take it out on my wife, he's not going to stop it. When someone's in love with someone, you can't just beat them up and beat the love out of them. Can you do that, guys? Can you grab someone and beat the love out of them? Can you do that? You can't. You can beat the daylights out of them, but that heart is going to go, first it's going boom, boom, boom. After you beat them up, it's going to go boom, 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 boom. They want more. So the man was wise. The man thought, you know what, I can't stop this wife of mine getting towards him, but he's going to think of a way to stop this, and he's going to get away. He'll find a way, and a very good way. So he needs to, but he thought, you know what, if the town hears this, this is from a very intelligent person, if the town hears this, if the city of Egypt hears this, then I'm going to be the one who will be more embarrassed than anybody else. My dignity is gone. My honor is gone. So he turned around to Yusuf and said, Yusuf, a'rid an hadha. Yusuf, forget about it. You know, he's told his wife off, and he's appealing to Yusuf. Yusuf, I'm appealing to you. Don't you tell anyone about it. Just forget it. Forget the issue. Why did he do that? Because, you know, the worst thing that happens, you know, any evil that can happen where people start to get a bit, uneasy with one another is usually, how do you make that happen? Can anyone tell me? You know, most of the things that are happening where people are upset or get angry, get frustrated with each other and want to really go for each other or start talking bad about each other or whatever else it is that, they're against each other. How does it happen? Can anyone tell me? What's the secret?
The influence behind what the cleavage.
Influence, anyone else? Rumors, I think, good. And how do you spread rumors? Tell. And what's telling? Using what? Here, the tongue. The tongue is the mechanism to spread all of this. You think any two people are fighting without somebody using the tongue in between and getting them to... You think so? The tongue. If you keep quiet, if every human being right now kept quiet, everyone, imagine in this masjid, everybody came to this masjid, nobody spoke. Everybody said Allahu Akbar, prayed the salah, Assalamu alaikum, done the dhikr, and out. Nobody said a word in the masjid, nobody said a word outside the masjid, nobody said a word anywhere. The committee members came here, nobody spoke to each other. They all came inside, just clean, lock, this, that. And everyone did their job without anyone speaking to anybody else. You think there'd be any trouble? There'd be no trouble, brother. So I'm telling you, brother, just zip up, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why he said to Yusuf, Yusuf, arid, just turn away from it. Forget it. Meaning that don't you say anything about anything. Wastaghfiri li dhanbik. And he said to his wife, you should ask Allah for forgiveness. Astaghfir, or ask, for forgiveness. And one thing he said, wastaghfir li dhanbik, he said, you should seek forgiveness for your sin, meaning ask Yusuf to forgive you. Because innaki kunti minal khati'in, you are definitely from those who have made a mistake. Now, the man's trying to contain all this. He knows that this woman's gone crazy for this boy or this young man. The young man is innocent and he really likes the young man. But what is he supposed to do in this situation? Anyway, you know what happens is news breaks. How news breaks? Allah doesn't tell us how it breaks. But how it spreads, Allah tells us. How does it spread? The Qur'an says, ayah number 30, is وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ. The women in the city, they said. Right? Now what does that mean, brothers? And I know my sisters are listening, yeah? If you ever tell a woman a secret, it is no longer a secret. That is a rule you should write down, my friend. And my way of saying is that you tell one woman, you've told all the women. Right? The thing is, yes, men do spread gossip and seek things, but a woman does it with, the way they do it is like they do it with style. They come, what they'll do is, and again, this is not, I'm not being sexist here, I'm not being, I'm just telling you that there are things that are wrong with men, things are wrong with women, you got to judge me from all the things I say. But on this particular tafsir of ayah number 30, Allah Azza wa Jalla has told us about the women. Why? Because a woman will come to you and a woman will actually say to you, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but this happened. Don't tell anyone. Okay. This woman who heard it will go, I'm not supposed to tell this to another woman, she's saying. Don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone. Each one is doing the same thing to another one. And they're all saying to each other, they're all thinking, I'm the only one that knows this. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. When the whole city is talking about it. But anyway, what happened is that the women, they started to talk. And when the women started to talk, this is what happens. They're not just going to say, nobody was there to witness the whole incident. Nobody was there. They heard that, my God, this is what the conversation they had. They said, you heard this? The minister, his wife, oh my God, the luxuries the woman's got. Oh! She's there with all the pamper stuff that she needs, and the woman falls for a slave boy. Oh my God! What news is that? And they're saying this, then talking about her and how she's got so much money, she's got luxury, she's got everything she wants, and she's just after a young man, younger than her. She's fallen in love. They said, قَدْ شَغَفَهَا حُبًّا. She's trying to, we heard, she's trying to seduce him. You know what? She's just fallen in love with this boy. Oh my God. And you know what's happening is, they're all saying it to one another, and they're adding stuff on. So one of the things they added on is, إِنَّا لَنَرَاهَا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. She's completely lost. She's lost. Now, فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنَّ. The next part of the verse. And Allah is revealing so much to us in this surah. The women spoke, yes. And they spoke, they spread the news. And this woman here, Zuleyka, she hears about what they said, and the thing that goes in her mind is that they're just up to something very evil. She didn't even think about it as, it's a natural thing that would happen. No, she's thinking this is evil. Why did Allah say this? Why Allah said this is because, and I'm telling this from modern day psychology, guys, yeah? Men, when they're in front of other men, they don't think what the other guy's thinking about them. They just say what they're going to say, and they just said it, and that's it, done. That's it. Women, when they come in front of one another, they're saying something, but they're thinking something else. And the biggest thought is, what I've just said, I wonder what that woman really thinks about what I just said. That's what's going in a woman's head. So like two guys might come in front of each other, they both got bags, right? So imagine they're both going on holiday, they've got two bags, one guy here, one guy, they got the bag. No man ever is going to start saying, hey man, your bag there, this and that, yeah, I wonder where you got it from, this and that. They're not even going to get into the conversation. But even if they got in the conversation about each other's bags, it'd be like, if he said, yeah man, your bag looks nice, yeah, it's nice, this, how much did you get it for? 20 quid. Well, that's nice, man. Decent size. Yeah, it's looking good. Good. Yeah. Tell me what you get it from. I get it next. That's it. Finished. When he said it's a nice bag, he meant it's a nice bag. Now listen to the next bit. Yeah. Two women, they come with two bags. So when a woman says to them, "Oh, I like your bag," this woman says, "Oh, really? Yeah, I just got it from Prada." This one thinking, "Did she really like my bag? Did she really like it? Or is she trying to say it's too big? I wonder what she's saying. Or is she trying to say it's too small? Huh? Oh yeah, so yeah, I got the bag. Oh, it really looks lovely. Oh, really lovely. Oh, it's really, really nice." This one thinking, why on earth is she carrying on talking about my bag for? This could be the case. Sometimes they're making comments to each other, and they're always thinking, I wonder how I'm being judged right now by the other. Maybe it's not as bad as, they're all thinking every time about what they said. But listen, when you guys could be a witness to me on this, right? Allah, unless you tell me that I'm going mad here. Anyway, when you have guests coming to your house here, and something's lying around in the house, a man hasn't probably even seen it lying somewhere, some little thing lying in the corner somewhere over there. A man has even seen it. Your guest came inside, your guest left here, and then after that, your wife comes in and looks. You had your guest in here, And that thing was there, you didn't even bother picking it up? Huh? You didn't even see it? The guest might think that we are people who are, untidy, unkempt. We don't care about this house, this and that. It's like, whoa, even I didn't see it, my guest didn't see it. But the thing is, for the woman, it has to be like, whoa, it has to be proper, tidy. Because they're thinking, man, these other women who walks in here, that's how women think. It's like everything, every little thing matters. Now, what I've just said there, guys, would you back me up on that, true or not? Yeah? Oh, whoa, I got a big true from you guys, yeah? Right, now why I'm saying this from this tafsir is that look how Allah Azza wa Jal is talking about some things happen private, but all of this starts to spread because of the women. And the next thing is that Zuleyka has heard it, and the way her opinion is different from what really happened. Her opinion is that these women are really up to making me look ugly. Okay, I'm gonna make them look ugly. Alright, so what she does is she calls them over for a good, for just come and eat at my place, and I'm gonna cook for you guys and all of that. They come, she makes nice cushions for every single one, and they all can sit nicely, and they're all nice and relaxed. And then she basically gives each one a knife in the hand and says, here's a piece of fruit, take it, each one. And each one's got a knife. She says, look, I just want to do something right now. You've all got your knives in your hands, and you've all got the fruit. Just imagine it's an apple in the hand, yeah? You've all your fruits, yeah? I just want to do something, yeah? I just want to tell all of you to cut the fruit at the same time. Can you please start cutting the fruit? And they start cutting the fruit, and all of a sudden she tells Yusuf alayhi salam to come out. She had him there, behind the curtain. She said, Yusuf, come out, just walk in front and go. So Yusuf alayhi salam just walk in. She has to do this because this woman is already planning to put him into prison and get him punished. So he just walked in front of the women. He's just walking and going past. And when the women were cutting this, and they swore, whoa, Akbarna, whoa! They thought something big of this guy. They've seen handsome men before, but they're not seeing anything like this. They said, already they've cut the hands, but they can't feel any pain, brothers. This is, boom, boom, you know what I'm saying? They can't feel anything. They said, Hashali, they said, this is not even a human being. They actually said, this is not a human being. This cannot be a human being. This has to be a noble angel. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal reveals to us how they said, وَأَكْبَرْنَهُ, which is that they magnified him in their eyes. And what happens here is after he leaves and goes past, they all suddenly realize, whoa, we've just cut our hands, bleeding, all of them are bleeding. And they put the knives there, and the Zuleyka was having the best laugh. You telling me I'm after you? Look at you lot. Couldn't even cut a piece of fruit. Huh? Cut your hands. Yeah, now you want the plaster, don't you? I don't know if I had the plasters those days, brothers. I'm just making it up, yeah? But anyway, you need something to stop the blood right now, yeah? You just cut straight into this. Imagine this here. And I know he has to give the other, but imagine this here. That you cut a piece of your own flesh and you still don't feel the pain. How? Subhanallah al-Azim. Because of what? Because of seeing beauty. Seeing beauty. Now, subhanallah al-Azim, from this, one alim said, he said a beautiful thing. This. I just want to say this, inshallah. We're going to say a few more things about this ayah in the next one, and then we'll carry on, inshallah. But just before the adhan goes, give me 3 minutes, inshallah, to say this one. There was one individual who wanted to understand that, death, when death comes to you, death is a painful thing. And we all know death is painful. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said on his deathbed that death is painful. So one alim, one scholar, he really wanted to find, how is it that Allah is saying that the believing people will go through death, even though it's painful, it's still not going to be painful for them? He thought, what's the dalil for this? So he searched and searched and searched and he couldn't find it. So he kept making dua to Allah, Allah, show me how is the believer goes through death. And a believer doesn't feel the pain, but it must be painful. So then he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his dream. This is a true incident. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, he said, look in the Qur'an, you will find the evidence. And he looked in the Qur'an and he couldn't find the evidence. So he again beseeched Allah. And Allah Azza wa Jal showed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam again in his dream. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he said, look in Surah Yusuf. He looked in Surah Yusuf, he couldn't find it. On a third time, Prophet ﷺ said to him in a dream, he said, look at this ayah. This was this ayah, which means what? Out of the beauty that you see, you're cutting your own flesh. You don't even feel the pain because of the beauty that Allah shows you. Imagine at the time of the death of a believer, when the believer sees the beauty of the akhirah and of Jannah and Rawhun wa Rayhan and the sweet fragrance of Jannah and having good news of Allah, being never unhappy with Him ever again. That is seeing and witnessing all of that means that the pain of death is nothing. You don't even feel anything. But anyway, I'm going to carry on from this verse, inshallah. I'll see you again after Maghrib in 2 weeks' time. Baakhir da'wan alhamdulillah.
الذكر علم ونور الحاملات سنا ونور والرسمات هنا سرور يا حلوات تلك السنين